Informal letters are those that we write to a friend, to someone we know, who may, like teachers, coach, or pastors, or relatives. The style of language is more casual if we compare it with formal letters. I mean, when we look at this whole idea of writing letters, we usually we hardly write letters, but there's this beauty of writing letters to someone. I mean, I mean, when I look at this whole idea of writing letters, very nicely or neatly written on a piece of paper, and when you receive a letter like that from someone, from your loved ones, dear ones, it is special, and it just kind of makes me to treasure it. That is the beauty of writing letters. But hardly we hardly get letters nowadays. But there are some occasions or cases where we still write informal letters, and it is crucial that we know some of the important points on how to write an informal letter. Informal letters, they can be like a letters congratulating someone, someone who got a promotion, or someone who achieved something, a new job, or it can be your friend who scored really well in exam, or it can also be a thank you message for a gift, for someone, for some advice. It can also be a handwritten invitation, declining or accepting an invitation as an apology, requesting information. It can also be a condolence letter. All this comes under informal letters. Now let's look at the purpose of an informal letter. These 2 points are who and purpose. Now let's look at this. These 2 points are like, 2 sides of a coin. Remember, these letters are personal and written to someone we know very well. You have to think like, why? Why are you choosing to write to this person, and what do you want to tell them? Think about these questions before you start writing. The language. When it comes to language, remember, you don't have to be, really formal. You are writing an informal letter. You don't have to be too conscious about the format of being, too formal. Remember, we are writing an informal letter. Likewise, there can be some modifications, but avoid using words like, wanna, gonna, ain't, gotta. Don't use all those words. I mean, of course, we are writing informal letters, but those words are too informal, and I would sincerely advise you not to use those words, because it's just too incoherent, and it really doesn't look good. Again, I repeat, even if we are writing an informal letter. If you are not writing an informal letter for an exam, then no, you don't have to stress too much about strict grammar rules or technicalities, but this video is strictly for students who are writing their exams, so be careful about your grammars, be careful about the words which are too informal. Please avoid that. Emotions. Informal letters has more emotional value than formal letters. It is the mixture of a content and candid of these letters that make them emotional. Even if the purpose of your letter is to factually recall happenings, do not forget to add emotions to it. For example, you are writing a letter to your loved one, or maybe to a friend who has lost, his father, or a loved one, kind of a condolence letter. So you're writing a condolence letter. So you are writing a condolence letter. You cannot talk about, hello, hi Joanna, how are you? I hope you are fine. You are totally digressing, in the sense that you cannot start your letter like that, because you're writing a condolence letter. The person is sad, the person is feeling alone, the person has lost someone very dear to him. So you cannot start like, how are you, I hope you are fine. If you do that, you are totally misusing this whole idea of emotions. Let the person know how a particular incident made you feel. For example, if you are writing a letter to wish your brother for about his success, talk about his hard works, and how far he has come to this extent because of his hard work. So just talk like that, and then try to spark something which is happiness. For that, you edit helps with the tone of your letter to keep it casual. However, just make sure that your letter do not cross the boundary in the sense that make sure that your letter do not become too informal. Try not to make it too boring, and stay focused on the points you want to cover. You can create a mental checklist. Now let's look at the don'ts of an informal letter. Do's: be polite. Even if you are writing a letter of complaint, you do not inspire others to help you if your tone is angry and accusatory. Be polite. You don't have to rant, you don't have to shout at others with your words. Try to break the body up into at least 2 paragraphs. Your reader will follow your train of thought better. Do not write it in a long, bulky paragraph that it doesn't look good. You can let emotions show if the reason for your letter is to say thank you, to apologize, or to express sympathy. Now let's look at the don'ts. Don't use lengthy sentences with too many thoughts in them. Break up sentences to keep the points being made simple. Don't skip your introductory statement. You have to let the reader know the point of your letter right away. And also, don't use overly familiar jargon or slang for people who are not really close buddies or relatives. Remember, like I've said, we are writing an informal letter, but you cannot be overly informal. That is something which you should know. Now let's look at the format of writing an informal letter. So the first thing is, remember, there should be no indentation, in the sense that everything has to start from the extreme left of your paper. So on the extreme left, you start with your address. So for example, if you live in Delhi, somewhere around Vasan Vihar or something, you can just write Vasan Vihar near Priya Mall, South Delhi, 110067. You can write the pin code. Do not forget to write the pin code, and then the date can be like, for example, if it is 24th November, you can write 24th November, 2020, and then you leave one gap again, and this is down below. Remember, you don't have to use the subject for an informal letter. In a formal letter, we use subjects, but in informal letters, we don't use subjects. So you can start with their. For example, you're writing to your friend, pretty. For example, dear pretty. If you're writing to Ruben, dear Ruben. If it's your dad, dear. You can also use dear father, dear dad, or dear mother, or dear mom. I mean, those are not really not really important, in the sense that your teachers or anyone will not be overly conscious about all this. So dear pretty, give a comma. Dear Ruben, give a comma. Dear mom, comma. Dear dad, give a comma, and then you can start. If it is, if you're writing a social letter, informal letter, if you're writing to know about someone, you can start with how are you, I hope you are doing well, I hope you're doing well, I'm also fine here. You can start with something like that. And then uh, in the end, you can also write, it's been a long time since we have seen each other, and I will be really happy if you can attend my birthday party. Waiting to meet you soon. Take care. Um, yours lovingly. You can cap off with yours lovingly. You can sign it off with yours lovingly, and then your name. That can be the format. Um, So this is it. There are various ways of writing a informal letter. The format is really simple. You don't have to write the address of the person you're sending to or the address of the recipient. I mean, in the letter, because in 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 a formal letter we use address of the recipient as well when we are draft out a letter. But in informal letters, we don't have to uh, specifically mention the address of the recipients on the letter which we're writing. Maybe you can write it on the cover or on an envelope, but in the writing we avoid using the address of the recipient. So that is something which, some few points which you can, note it down and follow the steps when you write your informal letter. Okay, I hope you have learned something, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.